So we're in Ventnor City, New Jersey. It's a shore community that is sort of in the exact middle of a very wealthy part of town, which is at the far end of Absecon Island, which is Longport, where there's these exquisite mansions on the beach that are uninhabited right now in October. And if we go to the other far end of Absecon Island, we move to the Back Bay section of Atlantic City, where it is an extremely impoverished community. And so Ventnor is right in the middle of these communities. In my mind, it can serve as a kind of bridge between the extreme wealth and the extreme poverty at both ends. It can be pretty reflective of the larger United States, where, during election season, there were plenty of Trump-Pence signs and plenty of, Hillary signs all over the place. I think it's really important for me to live in a community that reflects a lot of what the rest of the country looks like.
Emari DiGiorgio lives in the real world, where she finds inspiration for her poems. She's committed to engaging with her community on all levels. Every month at the Noyes Arts Garage in Atlantic City, she hosts World Above, an open reading for area poets.
Or to reimagine. I hate the sound of the click.
Tonight is special, as Emari is giving a longer reading from her just-published first book of poems, The Things a Body Might Become. Emari started with a poem about a sticker she saw in the back window of a truck.
Calvin pees on Iraq. Pants down, both hands on his invisible pecker. The solid stream of piss arcs from his scribbled body to the kidney-shaped country of Iraq. In black, the pretend piss splashes back near Zakau. A woman walks over the stone arches of the city's most famous bridge, imagines rain. She wipes her brow. Calvin smirks from the rear window of a royal blue Silverado parked by the carts at Pathmark. Consider pissing on 29 million people. The market crowded with apples, garlic, soap, 3 boys playing soccer in the empty lot, a new bride, a funeral procession. It is on fire. That's what my student from Iraq said. No one has ever nuzzled a gun into my neck on the way to Mass, but I can buy a peace sign or a spread-legged stripper sticker on the same website that sells an 8-inch Calvin peeing on Iraq for $8.95, shipping included. What did he look like? The man who I'm assuming is a man, who drove to the supermarket with authority, whipped the truck into park, and exited the cab as if it were his ark. Give me his loose face, that thin-lipped sneer. Let him stand at the urinal of his favorite bar, pleased with himself. Let the piss-split stream hit the floor. Let it come until he panics, a steady seep. Soak his pants, the premium cloth seats. Let him ask God to intervene. I was really frustrated about the ignorance of the image itself. And I realized I was waiting. I wanted to see who was driving that truck. And I thought, no, you can't wait, go grocery shopping. And I thought, if it's still there when you come out, you can wait. I barter with myself. And it wasn't, thankfully, when I came out. But it kept haunting me. It really bothered me.
Taking a moment like this and turning it into a poem is something Emari learned to do first as a student at Stockton University. Her professor was the Pulitzer Prize-winning poet, Stephen Dunn.
She was hungry for knowledge. She had a lyrical quality to begin with and did not know how to make a poem, really, the way she learned to make a poem.
This poem is in response to the Newtown shooting, and I was pregnant at the time. And so it was a really, painful thought to think about bringing a child into the world to have to give it up in that way. The firing point. I want to walk through that school, tap each child on the shoulder. I had been very interested in writing about injustice that would strike this chord in me that I couldn't shake. I couldn't find a way to let it go. It would eat at me. And so I'd been writing many of these poems for a long time, even as an undergrad. And I remember at one time Stephen Dunn had said to me, a poem isn't a political platform. It's not a place to be doing that. Now, of course, a poem can be a political platform. And the fact that he made it this absolute really irked me. He was trying to communicate that it had to be more than a political platform, and a poem does need to do that.
Emari is a full professor at Stockton University, where once she learned the basics of her craft. She got her master's at NYU, where she found a way to connect poetry with her passion for social justice. Now, she teaches an interdisciplinary class for juniors and seniors that blends the two.
And it's called Why Poetry Matters. And so this course was born out of my own experience teaching in a hospital setting when I was a graduate student at NYU. And so I train my students from all majors. And this semester I do not have one literature major, which is actually very exciting to me. So I have students from chemistry and computer science and criminal justice who receive sort of a crash course in poetry where they're reading and writing it. And I train them to be community teachers. And so in pairs or in small groups, they teach in the community. And so this semester we're going to be working with a local high school. We're going to work with Covenant House, which is the youth homeless shelter in Atlantic City.
She's on the beach. Her mind is stuck in a deep, dark abyss. She can't go forward.
So they're teaching poetry. They're also connecting with these humans from different landscapes and different walks of life, and seeing the way in which poetry brings them together. For me, art is wedded to ideas of social justice and change. I can't shake it. And when the rain subsided and the wind died down, we'd venture outside, survey the damage, pull tree limbs from car hoods and shingles impaled like crooked tombstones in the yard. And someone would get the ladder, and then the work would start. Thank you.